I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachak Wadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Stay Active in the Ministry. And pretty much this title came through the inspiration of a video I was watching earlier. The up-and-coming young elder, Atazawam, from the Atlanta camp, he was doing a lesson. And there was something that he said. I can't remember exactly how he said it, but it put that title in my head, Stay Active in the Ministry. And I looked up the word active. And the word active, the definition number 3 is a person who is a participating member of an organization. Then we'll jump down to the second one, which is another number 3. It says disposed to take action or effectuate change. And that's, staying active. We're disposing to take action to effectuate change, because a change is coming. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to make a change, in this world. And it begins by a word. Everything in the beginning began by a word, and the Lord spoke the word, and so and so happened, and such happened. So it begins by the word, and the words that it begins by is the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Right? It says taking part in an activity characterized by energetic activity. The scripture said that we're lively stones. So a lively stone would be active, not dormant, not slothful. Exerting influence or producing a change or effect. Full of activity or engaged in continuous activity. In operation. And that's pretty much it. It goes on and on and on. Oh, the last one, the last definition. Engaged in full-time work. And this is a full-time work. This ain't part-time work. This ain't work that you get to, to make extra money off of. This ain't the part-time job that you have that you work, when you need extra money. This ain't that kind of work. All right. So what I want to do is I want to start off in the book of Ecclesiasticus and the Apocrypha and the 11th chapter. And then the main focus of this lesson would be Luke, the 19th chapter. But I want to read this first because this is very important. This is Ecclesiasticus 11 and 20. Excuse me. It says, be steadfast in thy covenant. Steadfast meaning unmovable. What's the covenant? This agreement that the Lord gave us, and the agreement is that we have to work, going back to the law that was given to Moses to give to us. We have to maintain that, to the best of our ability. Now, we know we can't keep it perfect. We know that we're not going to be saved by keeping the law, but we still keep it to the best of our ability, right? So it says, be steadfast in thy covenant and be conversant therein, and wax old in thy work. Okay, because the Lord brings brothers in. Most brothers that come in when they're young men. Remember that I created in the day of thy youth. Then it says, wax old in thy work. See? So in other words, this is something that has to continuously be done until the job is done. So hence the title of the lesson, Stay Active in the Ministry. It says, marvel not at the works of sinners. Yeah, because you see individuals out there doing wicked shit and prospering. So the Lord said, don't marvel at that. But trust in the Lord and abide in thy labor. Abide in thy labor. Abide in thy labor. For it is an easy thing in the sight of the Lord on the sudden to make a poor man rich, because eventually we're going to get, the riches. We're going to get, compensation, because we're laboring, and the Lord is not unrighteous to forget our deeds in love. So a laborer gets what? Compensation. Gets wages, which is a compensation for his labors. So we're going to be compensated if we endure to the end. It says, the blessing of the Lord is in the reward of the godly. See? Blessing of the Lord is in the reward of the godly. Because there is a reward coming. There is a compensation. And suddenly he maketh his blessing to flourish. So we're seeing the blessing of the Lord flourishing, but it's going to even be made more apparent the closer we get to the end. When he protects his elect, like the scriptures say, then shall be known who are my chosen. It says, say not, what profit is there of my service? Right. Because you may be laboring for a certain period of time, and then certain individuals start thinking, man, I wasted 10 years of my life, man. Inside joke, but it's the truth. So it says, say not what profit is there of my service, because there is a profit. But the services that we're doing now, are being, the payments are being deposited into a spiritual bank account, And the scriptures say, which I was going to get this later, but since it came to mind, let's go here real quick. This is Ecclesiastes 6:19. Come unto her, meaning wisdom, as one that ploweth, meaning works, and soweth, and wait for her good fruits. For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon. Yeah. So that's why it says, say not, back in Ecclesiastes 11:23, say not, what profit is there of my service, and what good things shall I have hereafter? Because we're going to receive great things. That's why the scriptures say, I have not seen, neither ear heard, what the Lord hath prepared for them that love him. It says, again, say not, I have enough and possess many things, and what evil can come to me hereafter. So that's pretty much at the 23rd verse. Let's read the 23rd verse again. Say not, what profit is there of my service, and what good things shall I have hereafter? You will have, we will have great benefits, if we continue on in the faith, which leads us to the first precept, or the next precept, which is the book of Luke 19. I was going to start the 13th verse, but I'm going to start up above that. It says, Luke 19:12. He said, therefore, a certain nobleman. Who is this nobleman? Yahushua went into a far country. What is that far country? Up into the heavens, to sit on the right hand of the Most High till he makes his enemies his footstool. And delivered them 10 pounds, meaning he gave them money, which we read something similar to this yesterday. And said unto them, occupy till I come. Now, bear with me. Matter of fact, let me see. This one has something on it. Let me see what this one says. So the word there is occupy, right? Occupy till I come. Occupy means to labor, means to work, means to stay busy until the Lord makes his second coming, because he's coming to deliver his elect. So the word occupy is the word pragmatiumahi, which brings to mind the word pragmatic. This one it says to busy oneself with that is to trade. Occupy. So what are we trading? We're trading the Lord's money out in the spiritual stock exchange. That's what I call it, spiritual stock exchange. I know some brothers probably don't like that because stock exchange, they think of Esau and Wall Street and all that, but this is a spiritual stock exchange because there's many different things being traded, with this knowledge, which are all commodities. Or every part of this knowledge is a commodity, and it benefits spiritually, to each individual. And the money is the word, and it's being traded out in the open stock exchange, and the only ones that are investing, in it are the ones that are part of the elect, and that's it. So it says to busy oneself with that is to trade, occupy. So to get busy or to work or to labor with the Lord's money, which is what's being used as trade, because the word trade or traded is in the scriptures, as a part of what has to be done as far as the Lord's money is concerned, which we read yesterday in Matthew 25 and 16. And it only appears twice in the New Testament. The word trade, one is trade and one is traded. So let's look up traded real quick in Matthew 25. Then he that received the 5 talents went and traded with the same and made them other 5 talents. So the word traded is ergazomai. It says to toil as a task, occupation, etc. By implication, effect, be engaged in or with, etc. Yeah, because you have to engage. You have to be active. Commit, do labor for minister, about trade, work, wrought, minister about, do, forbear. Well, forbear working means not to work, but actually to work, to carry on the load. Labor for, commit, trade. All right. Just bear with me 1 second. Right, so it was to refrain from doing work. So you have individuals like that refrain from doing the work, forbear working. All right. So it goes on to say, so occupy. Let's look. I wanted to look up the word. I'm gonna look up the word occupy in the Common Dictionary, and then the word pragmatic. Occupy. Keep busy with. Occupy the whole of. Be in the mind of. Consume all of one's attention or time. Yeah, so you would be consumed with this truth. This truth would be like your all in all. Your devotion would be to this truth completely, because this is our first love. So it goes on to say, oh, I forgot to look up the word pragmatic. Let me get that and then we can move on. Pragmatic. An imperial decree that becomes part of the fundamental law of the land, concerned with practical matters of or concerning the theory of pragmatism. It ain't really going into too much. But the word pragmatic means to work. This one is not really going into the definition of it, but it means to work. That's why it says occupy. It says, but his citizens hated him. This is dealing with the individuals from his town, and sent a message after him saying, we will not have this man to reign over us. This applies also to the ones that rejected Yahushua, no matter where they were at. And it came to pass that when he was returned, having received the kingdom, then he commanded these servants to be called unto him, to whom he had given the money. Now there's a precept here for money, and it says silver. See? Because the Greek for money is silver in the scriptures, and the Hebrew for money is silver in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew. So it says that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. And so like I didn't turn on my other contraption that gives me a little bit more definition, with either the Hebrew or the Greek. So I'm kind of using this phone here, which this one is all right, but it doesn't really bring out a whole lot. So just bear with me, because it's gonna take a little while for the other one to fire up. So the Greek word there is diapragmatuomahi, which is also pragmatic. It says to thoroughly occupy oneself, that is transitively and by implication to earn in business, gain by trading. So pretty much, if you're not trading, you're not gaining. So if you're not occupied, you're not gaining. And in order to be occupied, you have to have the Lord's money. And then when you have the Lord's money and you're active with it, you're spending it. And when we're out there teaching, that's spending the Lord's money, right? So going back to Luke 19, now verse 16. Then came the first, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 10 pounds. And he said unto him, Well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in a very little, have thou authority over 10 cities. And the second came, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 5 pounds. And he said likewise to him, Be thou also over 5 cities. And another came, saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept laid up in a napkin. For I feared thee, because thou art an austere man. Thou takest up that thou layest not down, and reapest that thou didst not sow. And he said unto him, Out of thine own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. Thou knewest that I was an austere man, taking up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then gavest not thou my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have required mine own with usury? So let's look up this word bank. The word there is bank. Luke 19 and 23. The word bank. Trapizza. Excuse me. From G5064 and G3979, a table or stool. Yeah, because you had the word bank comes from the word bench, because a judge sits at the bench. You would sit at the bench, at the when you were at the bank, the distributing money. So that was it, the trapezia or the bench. All right, a table or stool as being four-legged, usually for food, figuratively a meal, because this word is also a meal, also a counter for money, figuratively a broker's office for loans at interest, bank meet table. So pretty much that's why I call it the spiritual stock exchange, because this word, which are the different commodities, are being traded out in the open stock exchange. And the only ones that can receive it are the elect. So it says, Wherefore then gavest not thou my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have required mine own with usury? And he said unto them that stood by, Take from him the pound, and give it to him that hath 10 pounds. And they said unto him, Lord, he said he hath 10 pounds. For I say unto you that unto every one which hath shall be given. So who is the one that's going to have? The ones that are occupied in the Lord's business, trading his money. And from him that hath not, even that he hath shall be taken away from him. Yeah, so whatever the individual that doesn't have, that doesn't produce, is going to be taken away from him, the thing that he didn't have. And that whatever he had is going to be taken from him. So the goal is to stay active in the ministry, to receive more money, to continue to trade. It says, But those mine enemies which were not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. Yeah, because if you're not working for the Lord, then you don't want the Lord to come. Because the purpose of working out here is to gain money for the Lord for his coming. And all of it works in tandem with the prophecies and everything that we're doing. You see? So you have to be active in order to receive wages. So now let's go from there to Luke 10. Because I meant to hit precepts, before I actually read the parable, but the Spirit had me read the parable. So we rolling in the Spirit, baby. Luke 10:7. So it says, and in the same house remain, eating and drinking such things as they give, for the laborer is worthy of his hire. Go not from house to house. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look up the word laborer, and we're gonna look up the word hire. You know what? I'm just gonna fire this one up, and I'll just keep rolling with this one until that one fires up. So we're looking at the book of Luke, the 10th chapter and the 7th verse. And we're looking up the word laborer. Laborer is ergates, a toiler, figuratively a teacher, laborer, worker. So a teacher is a worker, because a teacher's job is to do what? To teach, right? And that teacher that's laboring, that's doing his work, is worthy of his hire. And the word hire means, it's the word mistos. It says pay for service, literally or figuratively, good or bad, hire, reward, wages. Yeah, because we're working for the ultimate wage, which is what? That penny, which is the kingdom of heaven. That's the ultimate wage that we're working for. All right. So now let's go from there to the book of 2 Thessalonians. Now, keep in mind, this 2 Thessalonians is dealing with actual work, but we could apply it to spiritual work also. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 and verse 10. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. So that's dealing with physically and spiritually. Because if you're not working spiritually, you're not going to eat. And that's the main thing. We're supposed to be working spiritually, because that's the ultimate goal, to teach this word until the Lord comes back. Blessed is that servant when the Lord cometh back and findeth him so doing. Doing what? Doing this work. Teaching his word. All right, now let's go from there. Oh, you know what? I got the word work here. Let me look at this word work in 2 Thessalonians, since this one already fired up. Second Thessalonians 2. Let me check the time. Yep, okay, I got time. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10. Work. Ergazomai, which we read a word that's similar to that. It says to work, labor, do work, to trade, to make gains by trading, do business, to do, work out, exercise, perform, commit, to cause to exist, produce, to work for, earn by working, to acquire. Then down here it says to toil, as a task, occupation, etc. So if you ain't working for the Lord, you ain't gonna eat. Lord said what? My servants shall eat. Why? Because they've been involved. They've been doing the work. They've been active in the work of the Lord. Let's go to 1 Timothy 6. And we're going to go straight to the point, the 12th verse. It says, fight the good fight of faith, lay hold on eternal life, whereunto thou art also called, because we've been called into this thing. Many are called, few are chosen. Give diligence to make your calling and election sure. And has professed a good profession before many witnesses. Yeah, because this is our profession. Teaching this truth is our profession. Now, when we go to the word, to the Greek, on that word profession, this is heavy because I just ran across this earlier. 1 Timothy 6 and 12. The word there for profession, right? When you go to it, the word there is homologia. Now, the word homo is same, right? And the word logia is where you get the word logos. So same word. So when we're working in this truth, it's supposed to be on this, in the same mind, the same truth, you know, the same doctrine, the same belief, the same faith is all one. It's not many different, and everybody teaches whatever the fuck they want to teach, and then everybody just comes together because we're all Israelites. No, it don't work like that. You know, it has to all be this. We have to all be of the same mind. That's why the word homologia, profession, subjectively, whom we profess to be ours. Objectively, profession, confession, an example, what one professes, confesses, right? Because in a profession, when you become a professional and you are teaching others, you're confessing to them your profession. You know, if that makes any sense. Because that's what a profession is. A profession is a job title, you know, that you are a professional at, and then when you're professing it to others, you're confessing it or speaking it. And that's a part of this knowledge. That's a part of this word, you know. So that means same word, homologia. You know, so in the profession, we have to teach the same thing. We can't be one person teaches one thing, the other person teaches another thing, but then we all get together and eat lamb and drink yayan, you know, and forget our differences. No, it don't work like that. Now let's go to the Apocrypha. Let's go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 11. And it says, "For whoso despiseth wisdom and nurture, he is miserable, and their hope is vain. Their labors unfruitful, and their works unprofitable." Yeah, because you could be working, but it could be unprofitable. Excuse me. That's why Yahweh Shai said, "Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven." Because some people are going to say, "Lord, we taught in your name. We was out there in the streets. You know, we cast out devils in your name." And you're going to say, "I never knew thee. Depart me, thou workers of iniquity." Because you could do it, there's a right way to work, and then there's a wrong way to work. You see? Jumping down to the 15th verse, "For glorious is the fruit of good labors, and the root of wisdom shall never fall away." That's right. You know, so there's a right and a wrong way to build in this truth. And you have certain individuals that are building wrong, and when you try to correct them and tell them that they're building wrong so that they can build the right way, they get upset. They want to get nasty with you. Inside joke. Wisdom of Solomon 9:14. "For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices are but uncertain." Yeah, that's why we're constantly battling, you know, between the flesh and the spirit. "For the corruptible body presseth down the soul, and the earthy tabernacle weigheth down the mind that museth upon many things." Yeah, because if the mind is not focused, it tends to drift. Like sometimes you might be watching a video and the brother might be getting down, but then all of a sudden you find your mind drifting, you know, thinking about other stuff, and you're like, you know, and you want to get into the lesson because the brother's getting down, because that's the spirit and the flesh fighting. The spirit wants to get edified, the flesh just wants to you know, drift off. It says, "And hardly do we guess aright at things that are upon earth, and with labor do we find the things that are before us." Remember, we read in Thessalonians, if you don't work, you don't eat. Now that's talking about physically, but it's also dealing with spiritually. So it says, "And with labor do we find the things that are before us, but the things that are in heaven, who hath searched out?" Yeah, because the Lord is the one that's, you know, giving us the things that we need. Other stuff that the Lord did not reveal to us is not important at this point. When the time is important for those things to be revealed, we'll get them. But right now we have just enough to get to the finish line, salvation. And in the meantime, while we're working our way to back to the Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, we also teaching in the hopes of being delivered. And that's why in the book of James, matter of fact, before we go there, and thy counsel who hath known, it says, except thou give wisdom and send thy Holy Spirit from above. For so the ways of them which lived on the earth were reformed. Because we were all out there one time. And when the Lord's word entered into us through the teachers, we became reformed. We changed from the way we used to be. Right? And men were taught the things that are pleasing unto thee, and were saved through wisdom. And now we go to James 1:21. There's a procedure to this truth. You know, there's a particular way that it's to be taught. There's a way the Lord wants this thing to be done. He's very particular in the procedures concerning his word. James 1:21. Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. Because the engrafted word is something, the word is grafted into us because we were lost at one time. So we had to be revived. The word revived us. It healed us. So we were converted, and we became healed. And that's the procedure. All right? Now let's go from there back to the Apocrypha in the book of Ecclesiasticus, the 38th chapter. And the 24th verse, it says, the wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure. Now, leisure time is not time to fuck off. Leisure time is reading time. The word leisure means to read. When you look up the word scholar, C-H-O-L, schol, that means leisure. And leisure means reading time. That's really what leisure is. Because it says here, the wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that hath little business shall become wise. So you have little business in what you physically do, but then that time that you have, you invested into the truth. Now don't get me wrong, you'll have times where you just want to listen to music or watch a movie or drink some yayan or whatever the case is. There's nothing wrong with that. Just as long as you're investing your time wisely for the truth. All right? It says, and he that hath little business shall become wise. How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow? Right? Because there's two types of labors. You have the physical labor, which we have to do, and then you have the spiritual labor, which we have to do. Right? And that glorieth in the gold that driveth oxen, and is occupied in their labors, and whose talk is of bullocks. Right? Because back then it was of bullocks, because that was one of the main professions back then was husbandmen. They talk about bullocks, they talk about the furrows, they talk about planting seeds, and the different things that pertain to business. If you were a carpenter, you spoke about your tools, you spoke about your skills and different things and how you build this and that and the other. If you were a coppersmith, you spoke about how you bear the heat, when you read on down, how you form different types of weapons, and your particular style and how you do it, which is different from others, because you figured out a way to reinvent the art of tool making, and weapon making, because that's all you spend your time in. See? So you're either going to invest in the time of this world, or you're going to invest in the work of the Lord. Now let's jump down to the 33rd verse. It says, they shall not be sought for in public. Yeah, so those individuals that are occupied in the labors of this world, it says they're not going to be sought for in public counsel, nor sit high in the congregation. They shall not sit on the judge's seat, nor understand the sentence of judgment. Yeah, because if you're not active in the work of the Lord, then your position is not going to be of a part of the government of the nation of Israel. You know, which would be the ultimate goal. To be Yahweh Shai told the disciples when Peter asked him, "We gave up everything. What are we going to receive in return?" He said, "You that gave up everything, you're going to receive 100-fold. You're going to sit on thrones. You're going to judge, Israel. You're going to judge the nations, so on and so forth." It says, "They cannot declare justice and judgment, and they shall not be found where parables are spoken." Why? Because parables are spoken by those that are learned, right? It says, "But they will maintain the state of the world, and all their desire is in the work of their craft," right? Because you have those that are just created to be husbandmen, that are just created to be carpenters, that are just created to be smiths, so on and so forth, potters, so on and so forth, and whatever trade is in this world. But then you have those that were created to be consumed with wisdom, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. All right, now let's go from there to Ecclesiasticus, the 6th chapter, which we read a verse earlier, and we're going to start at the 18th verse. Ecclesiasticus 6:18. "My son, gather instruction from thy youth up, so shall thou find wisdom till thine old age." Remember, we read about waxing old in your work. So, it says, gather instruction, because this journey is a journey of instructions. There are things that are broken down and explained, on how to maintain your spiritual well-being, how to grow in this thing, right? So it says, "Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth." Yeah, putting in work, right? "And wait for her good fruits," because there will be good fruits, but there's a discipline that it comes with, because you can't get benefits without showing discipline. Just like when you're working out, the ones that get the most benefit are the ones that put in the most work and show the most discipline. You're not going to get benefits if you don't show discipline, right? It says, "Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth, and wait for her good fruits. For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon." And once you get those fruits, you want to keep getting them. When you're getting it, it's good. You want to keep getting it. Inside joke. But it's the truth. Because it's an addiction. There's a drive. There's, it's a goal. It's a high. It's a drug, really, if you think about it. Everybody's addicted to something. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. "She is very unpleasant to the unlearned." See, someone that is unlearned, she will be unpleasant to him. Why? Because he doesn't have the instructions on what wisdom is. He's just thinking like the average person. Oh, wisdom, yeah, you learn, you read, and then that's it. They don't ever consider the discipline, the different stages you have to go through, the ups and downs, the trials, the tribulations, the loss of things to attain this wisdom. So it becomes unpleasant to them. You see? It says, "He that is without understanding will not remain with her." Yeah, because there's a set discipline. Just like if you want to become an athlete, right? You have to have a certain discipline about you. And the harder you work, the better you get, and the more chance you have to competing with the elite athletes. You see? But if you're a slacker, like a brother had a picture of this big ass Jake with a fucking whole pizza on his lap, Sloth, I forget who put that video up. That's like the thumbnail. If you that dude, then you're not gonna get, the benefits of either one, whether it be physical, athletic, or whether it be spiritual. Right? It says, he that is without understanding will not remain with her. She will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial. Why? Because he doesn't have the understanding of what it takes to get, or to go through the discipline to get wisdom. It says, and he will cast it from him ere it be long. Yeah, because it's going to be like a burden. It's going to become tiresome to him. He's going to be like, nah, I just want to go and chill, man. I don't want to have to deal with all this, man. Losing my wife, are you crazy? What? Losing my job, I got a good job. You must be out your mind. But that's a person that doesn't understand. See? For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. And this is why, because in the travels of wisdom, there's a certain road that has to be taken, because like with anything, like when you get a friend, you got to prove that friend whether he's a friend or not. When you set up a man in authority, over the ministry, that man has to prove himself that he is able to hold that office. So with wisdom, the individual has to be proven to see if he's worthy to get this wisdom. And like the scripture says, she is not manifest to many. So we should be grateful that the Lord gave us this truth, and we should cherish it. That's why I stay active in the ministry. And we have to keep praying. Whatever we lack, pray. It says, for wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. Give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel. And put thy feet into her fetters, and thy neck into her chain. Because it's like plowing. Like when the ox work, they have a yoke around their neck, and they're dragging the plow behind them, and they're ripping up the ground. That's their job. It's a hard job. Nevertheless, it has to be done. But what happens when you put hard work and dedication into something? You receive the benefit. Because without discipline, there is no benefit. Without hard work, there is no benefit. Hard work, dedication. Hard work. It says, bow down thy shoulder and bear her, because it's a weight. But there's a way to carry weight. You could carry weight. You could try to, be a macho man and carry it and be winded, after 10 steps. Or you can find a method of carrying that wisdom, of carrying that load without, straining yourself. Bow down thy shoulder and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds, because her bonds are her discipline. But those bonds and that discipline that you put into it eventually become a benefit to you when it makes you stronger spiritually. Just like athletes work and they put themselves through rigorous training and rigorous things, but afterwards that hard training molds them, and they can use that when they most need it in their competitions. Come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. Search and seek. So when you're searching and seeking, that's labor. A part of the labor is studying. A part of the labor is teaching. Going out in these streets. Presenting our bodies a living sacrifice. It says, search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go. And that's why we pray, like King David said, take not thy Holy Spirit away from me, but renew a right spirit within me. For at the last thou shalt find her rest. Because after you work out, what happens? You get the rest. You get to, some like to jump in a ice bath. Then some, after that, after they do the ice bath, then they jump into the hot tub, which is the best part, I guess, of after you work out, But nevertheless, that's when you rest. It says, and that shall be turned to thy joy. Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. Yeah, because that'll be the defense. Because through the discipline and the things that you endured, you were worked out in the spirit, and then when things come to pass and happen, you will be unmovable. You will be stable. Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 6. It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. Let me read that again. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Yeah, because the times that we're coming into, we're going to need this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to keep us stable when the rest of the world is going to be in a chaotic, desperate state of mind. All right. Now, the last precept I have, going right back to Ecclesiasticus 6th chapter, in the 30th verse. It says, for there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace. Yeah, and that's when you can get crowned. At the end of the discipline, at the end of the path. Give diligence to make thy calling and election sure. Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor. Why? Because you went through the discipline. And shall put her about thee as a crown of joy, which means what? You can receive the benefits now because you went through the discipline. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. And if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise. Stand in the multitude of elders, and cleave unto him that is wise. Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart, and give thee wisdom at thine own desire. See, so the establishment of the heart means what? Knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. And get ready to close it out. I got a few things I got to roll and do. So pretty much, stay active in the ministry. There's plenty of work to be done. Remember what Yahushua said? He said the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray the Lord of the harvest that he send forth laborers into his vineyard. And the laborer in the vineyard must be active. Otherwise, you make the job of another laborer harder by you just sitting, twiddling your thumbs and not getting involved. You're making the job of another laborer harder, because now he's got to carry the workload of two. As to where if the both of you are working, it makes it easier to carry the load. But if you're one of those slacking individuals and you're just sitting back and not doing nothing, you're making the job of the other laborers harder. Because they have to bear more of a load, when they're, because it's a heavy load already, because there's not enough laborers, but then when you're slacking and you're supposed to be a laborer and you're slacking, you're making it harder for the others that are laboring, because there's more burden on them. Whereas, you learning, you can take a part of that burden. You could carry some of that weight, to help brothers out. Sometimes brothers are in the thing, he's the head, so, he can handle all of that. Yeah, but the head needs help too. Second in command, third in command, fourth in command, fifth, down the line, need help. So if you're the type of individual that's slacking, hey, the Lord's going to spew you out. But if you're the type of individual that's working, is getting involved, but you may not do as much, but you're doing the best that you can. Hey, keep doing what you're doing. Pray to the Lord will increase. you know? And that's all we could do. Don't make don't make the load heavier for the rest of the body, by not carrying your weight. Carry your weight. We all have to carry our weight, and make it, so that, just do what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, what happens, to those that slack. The Lord is going to get rid of them. So with that, I pray that you brothers and you few sisters that are out there learn something and were edified. Until the next time I say shalom.